All right, man, let's go ahead and keep it in the NBA with more action from last night. The Lakers held on to beat the Nuggets 124-121. LeBron carried the banner for the Lakers with 29 points and 12 assists, but he got a big help from Anthony Davis and Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma poured in 25 points as well as the game-sealing three-pointer. The Nuggets did play most of their available squad, but did limit the starters to only about 20 to 25 minutes. The Lakers remain locked up for the first seed, while Denver tries to catch the Clippers for second. So, Jay, looking at this game and the Lakers' 3-4 record in the bubble, should Lakers fans be concerned going into the playoffs?
I would be more concerned about the Lakers than the Bucks at this point. I think there's real concern, although I'm not going to go as far as some folks in the media who seem to be thinking the Lakers are going to be in trouble immediately in the first round. I don't know what that's about. I don't necessarily see that, but this was a game last night that, I mean, you look at it, it was a little strange. Denver, like you mentioned it, none of their starters played the fourth quarter. They all played about, in the 25-minute range. But meanwhile, LeBron and AD were on the court for 38 minutes. So they wanted to win the game. And probably because, the Lakers haven't played all that well. So they're looking for some confidence. They're looking for some consistency. And we've been talking about the backcourt upheaval that they've had with no Avery Bradley and the injury to Rajon Rondo. So you bring in Dion Waiters. You're trying to integrate Alex Caruso more, and J.R. Smith is on the roster. He's there. So you're trying to do some different things with your backcourt. And as you can see, LeBron, AD, and Kuzma combined for 81 points. That sounds real familiar. But not at one time. But so 81 points from those three guys who respectively, I think all of them started. And I guess LeBron was playing in the backcourt, but pretty much that's 81 front court points. Can we get some backcourt production, please? I mean, to me, that's a concern. The backcourt of the Lakers. I mean, where is it? If you consider LeBron as being in the backcourt, but that's still not enough. Danny Green, Caruso, Waiters, J.R. Smith, Quinn Cook, like who's it going to be? Like who can you rely upon in that Laker backcourt? The Lakers up front, they're as deep and as strong and as physical, and they should control the backboards every game. But I mean, they're another team similar to Milwaukee. They've had some troubles on defense too. You look at last night. I mean, really, Denver shoots 58%, and they make 13 out of 23 from three, and they just seemingly get whatever they want, even with bench guys. I mean, PJ Dozier comes out there and goes for 18 points on 7 shot attempts. I mean, it's a lot of strange things going on in this NBA bubble. The Lakers are another team that whoever they meet in the first round, they should be able to get by fairly easily. But the Lakers are the one team more than any, when you look at the top 3 teams, the Lakers, Bucks, and Clippers, the Lakers more than any other team, including Milwaukee, LeBron and AD cannot afford to not play well. They have to have both of them seemingly every game dominate. Now, the one good thing I will say in the Lakers' favor is this is a good sign for Kuzma, because if Kuzma becomes the consistent third scoring threat that we all thought he should be in the preseason, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for the Lakers because they have struggled to score in the bubble. I believe they're last in a lot of offensive categories. Now, a lot of that can be trying to figure things out in the backcourt and just not having really anything to play for because they've had the top seed seemingly locked up. So it's another one of those things where there's concern, but I don't know how much you really want to read into it. Like, I don't think you should read everything into it like some folks are. I'm not going to mention names, but AD and LeBron, they can't afford to not play well. And if one of them has an off game, you got to think they're going to be in trouble every game where one of those guys doesn't perform.
Yeah, the biggest thing that stood out to me last night from the game itself, and again, we're not going to pull too much out of the game itself, but first of all, like you said, the Nuggets put up 121 points without playing any starter more than 26 minutes. That's not good. Like, one of the things the Lakers built themselves on in the regular season was their defense, and we knew the scoring would kind of come and go. Like you said before, you kind of build your bedrock in that defense, and that's what the Lakers have done because they have so many talented guys that can play defense. And that's not good when the Nuggets are doing that and not even only their starters not playing, but we're still missing guys like Jamal Murray who can put in a lot of points. So a little questionable.
Yeah,
But Kyle,
Murray played last night. They're still missing
oh, he
Gary
did.
Harris though.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, my bad. So yeah, right. They're still not at their full
Right,
capacity.
right.
Um, but also looking at the stats, Kyle Kuzma jumps off the page, and again, it's nice to see LeBron and AD getting back to what they do, but obviously Kuzma's contribution and obviously hitting the big shot towards the end there, that was big in terms of the outcome of the game. But overall, again, the 3-4 bubble record is a little concerning because you can dismiss some of this by saying, well, they are the 1 seed, they've had it locked up realistically before this all even started. But again, LeBron and AD played 38 minutes last night. You mentioned it. It was clear the Lakers were trying to win the game. I mean, if you were not trying to win the game, you wouldn't play your 2 stars that long. Um, and for what it's worth, listen to this. The Nuggets played in the final 12 minutes of the game. They played the lineup of Bol, PJ Dozier, Keita Bates-Diop, Mason Plumlee, and Monte Morris. That lineup scored 33 points against most of the Lakers starters. And that's not good. That sort of defensive lapse, again, is not something this team is known for. And it seems like they're off when it comes to that, right? Because, again, the scoring has kind of been up and down for them in the bubble, but they're giving up a lot of points, it feels like. And they're not, getting the absurd scoring always from AD and LeBron to kind of push off on it. Here's another stat for you. The Lakers lineup of AD, LeBron, KCP, Danny Green, and JaVale McGee is the worst plus-minus matchup, or plus-minus lineup, rather, of any of the 1,800 lineups used in the bubble at a minus 28 per 41 minutes.
Repeat that lineup again for me real quick, because I forgot I didn't even mention KCP when I was talking about the backcourt. So I got stuck on that.
Yeah, the lineup of Davis, LeBron, KCP, Danny Green, and JaVale McGee. They are a minus 28 combined.
That is shocking for the simple fact that how can any lineup containing LeBron and AD be the worst at anything? I don't care if Jared Dudley's out there on the floor with them. You still shouldn't be that bad.
You could pull out some virtual fans. I mean, I don't know how they're managing that. I really do, but that was a stat that came across today.
They should be able to carry me, you, and Drink out there.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, you look at this also, if you zoom out a little bit, you also have all these rumblings from behind the scenes. We've heard some things where LeBron said, oh, there's some stuff going on and I can't talk about it. But in a bubble where there's not a lot of distractions, that's a little concerning. And nothing's come up to the surface. We haven't heard anything tangible, but
I don't know how much I would buy into that. Seems just like
it could be a smokescreen. It could just be LeBron. Oh yeah, we're hurt, guys. Don't look over here. It very well could be. But that kind of stuff is just when you have the other issues they're having, the record and the spotty performances, it can be an issue. And one thing that really kind of strikes me, you look at the Lakers, really, is both LeBron and AD have had some struggles since this came back. And we were thinking, oh, LeBron rest, he's going to come out of the cryogenic chamber like, Goku, just ready to just go scorched earth.
Talked about it last week. He hasn't shot the ball well at all.
No, he really hasn't. And Anthony Davis, he's had some pretty mediocre to straight up bad games. I mean, I thought his worst one was against the Rockets when, even without LeBron, that's a team he should just feast against. I mean, AD should have 50 every time he plays the Rockets, their lineup. But he didn't really do all that much. And he was also pretty bad against OKC when he scored just 9 points. And in that same game, LeBron, he shot poor, very poor in a 19-point effort with just 4 assists. So, like you said, those two guys, it hinges so much on how well they play, which it should. They're the two guys. That's how this should work. But if you don't get like the great performance, if you get even good or mediocre, it starts to already look questionable. And you're not getting it from these other guys. Where's Danny Green been? 6.1 points on 39% shooting in the bubble. I mean, Waiters, J.R. Smith, I mean, they've had some okay games. I mean, Deion Waiters has had a few games where he looked pretty decent, but some of it was just gobbling up buckets at the end of the game. J.R. Smith has been pretty bad. He hasn't really done much anything so far.
He didn't even play last night.
Like, so that's not good when you're a guy that looks like you would be getting some minutes. So, when you step back and look at it, again, the amount of reliable guys you have to go to besides, AD, LeBron, and Kuzma, it's limited. Alex Caruso, he can be an option here and there, but he's not really going to be starting quality all the time. Waiters could go off any one game and help you out, but are you going to reliably get that production from him? And I think really what it comes down to is Kyle Kuzma has to be the third factor. He's got to really, if this team is going to just take control in the playoffs, they're going to just start just dumpstering people and doing what they were doing in the regular season. You're going to have this kind of performance almost every night from him because he's a two-way guy. He plays great defense, and the scoring, when it's there, it's really there. You get him involved, you get a few more three-point shots falling, you're fine. You're cooking. You can beat anybody. You can roll. But it doesn't, this team more than some of the other ones seems to really kind of hinge on a few things. And if one or two of those things don't line up, the Lakers have shown that there's some cracks in the armors. So I would, like you said, to pose the question between them and Milwaukee, I would be more concerned as a Laker fan tonight than I'd be as a Bucks fan tonight.
And the different, we've often compared and contrast the Clippers and Lakers for much of this season. Another big difference between those two teams. The Clippers can survive an off night from Paul George or Kawhi Leonard because you got Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench that can reinforce you and buffer you. Not to mention other guys. We've seen JaMychal Green play really well. And also now you got Marcus Morris. There's just Reggie Jackson. The list goes on and on of guys that we believe in. And also the Lakers. I really think they're going to wind up missing Avery Bradley. I really do. That is going to be a big deal because of how, I don't want to say inept, but how lackluster their backcourt appears to be right now.